Well, Mark, how did you get into your first property? Being in Hawaii, trying to figure out what makes sense investment wise. What was your first investment? How did you come about finding it?
So that's kind of a question, like I said, I kind of touched on it a little bit, is where I never really, I would say, considered myself an investor up until maybe 2019. I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it as I'm buying whether, I had a condo back in 2006, I believe, is one of my first property. But I didn't look at it like I was going to be a landlord. I didn't look at it from an investment standpoint. It was more, I need a place to live. This is where I'm going to live. And supposedly, if I have this for 30, 40 years, then I'll be a millionaire. And that was kind of the game plan. So I got a condo, and it was more looked at as just this place to live, a primary residence. And then I did transition into a single family home, 2015. And same thing though, the blueprint was more just looking at it where, okay, I have this property, sit on it for 30, 40 years, and I should be fine. And that was always the game plan. And then it did things kind of, like I said, back in when the world kind of changed, I started looking at things differently. And that's where one of my friends was investing in Pittsburgh. So he's in Hawaii also, but he was investing remotely in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he was always talking to me about, yeah, you should look into this. There's these homes for like, 75K, 100K, but they cash flow this much or the rent is this much. And I was just like, no way. Like, in Hawaii, you just, like I said, you see only these $500,000 homes, $1 million homes. And I never thought there were these places or pockets or these markets where, homes, median family homes are like 200,000 or whatnot, right? So once I started looking into it, I was just like, man, this is easy. Like you just buy this property for 100,000, it rents for 1,500 and you're making money. So I looked at it as like this is the ticket out. Like this is the way to do it. And that kind of flipped my whole mindset on buying properties in Hawaii or as far as how can I leverage what I have in Hawaii to get properties in Pittsburgh. And so fortunately, I still had that condo that I bought in 2006. So there was some built-in equity. And so that's kind of how I started initially buying properties in Pittsburgh was using HELOCs or my HELOC, my line of credit. And that's how I got started. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to get started. I know many investors who have done the same. It's, utilizing, that nest egg that you've already built and saying, hey, my return on my equity is very low.